Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, here to discuss what is going on with Brian Callahan, Tennessee Titans head coach. No, he was not fired this morning. Brian Callahan is still head coach of the Tennessee Titans here on September 22nd, 2025. But let's be honest. The clock has already begun. I said after week 2, you know what? This isn't going to work out. And then there were still some people holding out saying, give it time, let's see. And then we had the disaster that was yesterday's game. We had the disaster that was the end of the first half in yesterday's game. And now, what is it? Now, at least 95% of Tennessee Titans fan, and even I would even go as far to say like 80% of media is like, okay, he's got to go. And then we're all now just waiting on when. I don't see anyone defending Brian Callahan today. The only thing I'm seeing is some people saying still that, if you look at how Jimmy Johnson started, and if you look at how Dan Campbell started, they were able to turn it around, so maybe he can. And even I was saying after week 2, maybe he can. But with how poorly the end of the first half was handled, or even, I don't even know if it was handled because they didn't do anything. Everyone is now on board of like, okay, we can't keep doing this. This is a disaster. When is he getting out of here? Now, I'm not surprised that he was not fired within the last 24 hours because it has been done before, but not since, I want to say, if I remember correctly, I think it was 1978 or 82 was the last time. I think one coach got fired after 2 or 3 games, regular season games. And then there was another coach, I want to say one was in 78 and one was in 82. Well, there was one coach, I want to say in 82, that got fired after 2 preseason games. Okay, that's wow. And then another coach got fired after 3 games. Or maybe it was 2 games. But not since then. The only thing I've seen in the modern era, specifically my lifetime, is I've seen 4. Okay, I've seen Joe Philbin get fired after 4. I've seen Lane Kiffin get fired after 4. And I've seen Dennis Allen get fired after 4. 4 games. There were rumblings that Mike McDaniel might get fired if he got blown out on Thursday night. He did not. Now the Dolphins still lost. They're 0-3, but he still retained his job. So it was very hard to potentially see him getting fired after 3 games just because it doesn't happen. So I was not anticipating it. If I put the percentage on, I think I might have said in my video, I was like, I might put it like 20 to 30% just because it's on the table. But if you would have asked me before the game, I would have said 0%. I would have said, even if we get blown out in this game, he's not going to get fired. But I did not anticipate that disastrous, sequence that we saw at the end of the first half. I did not foresee that happening. If you would have told me that, then I would have told you, okay, maybe there's a chance. And now there certainly was a chance, but he's not fired. However, it's on the board. And now the clock is ticking. Okay, it's ticking. Barring, and I will still say that this is possible, although I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll say that this is possible. Barring this season being turned around, which I will say, because I predicted this team to be a 6-win team. And I will say, I still think that's on the board. Now, that's not saying much. 6-11, we're not going to be throwing parades in the streets. Maybe because we started this poorly, we will. But no one's going crazy for a 6-11 team. People thought I was being too harsh by even saying 6-11. People had it being 7, 8, 9. Oh, we might be the Commanders. Okay, guys. So, it would be great if we ended up 6-11 compared to where we are now. And I think if he were able to do that, I think he would survive this season. However, my stance in terms of, is Brian Callahan going to be the guy to make us a playoff team to win a Super Bowl one day? No. I just don't see any world of possibility for that whatsoever. I'm out on him in terms of that ever being a possibility whatsoever. But could he save his job this year? If we still somehow win 6 games, sure. If he somehow turns it around, figures it out, I still think that's going to happen. So considering that, I don't think a lot of us think that's going to happen. When is this going to happen? And I do think if we go to December and we're a 2 or 3 win team, I think you fire him and I think you get ahead of the head coaching search. Now, the one reason why you won't necessarily have to do that is because probably, now my top candidates, and we're going to go through candidates later on in like another video because we're going to be talking about this for weeks, even though I've already mentioned these names and I'll mention them again. My top 2 candidates right now, Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator for the Commanders, and I'll throw in the third, Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, only one of those is a former head coach named Cliff Kingsbury, and we can go a whole deep dive on him, and we will. I know that he failed in Arizona. Now, the last year was bad. Don't get me wrong. They went 4-13. Now, remember, the year before, they were trending towards being a Super Bowl team, and then Murray got a little dinged, and then they kind of faded late. They still made the playoffs, went, I want to say, 11-6, and then they went 4-13, and then he got out of there. Now, he lost the faith of Kyler Murray, and he lost the faith of the locker room. They kind of quit on him. I believe that was a learning experience for him. I know he can still call plays. We're seeing that with the Commanders right now. The guy knows offense. Without Jaden Davis out there, it doesn't matter. They put up 41 with Marcus Mariota. Ya boy. Okay? They put up 41 with Marcus Mariota and whatever they're throwing out there running back because they throw out Jeremy McNichols. They throw out sometimes Bill Krosky Merritt. They sometimes throw out, I think Eckler's not back, or I think he may not ever come back. They don't really know what they're doing in the run game. They're somehow making it work because of Cliff Kingsbury. I still like Kingsbury. The question about why can't he hold a locker room? I don't know. I would like to ask him. And I think now going to the Commanders again, I think he's, having a learning experience and now being under Dan Quinn, who's much more of a player's coach. I think he'll be better in his second stint. And the guy knows offense. I think I'm interested in him. But again, Joe Brady, everyone's going to be interested in him. He's going to be numero uno on every single team's list. Everyone is going to be gunning for Joe Brady. He is the Ben Johnson of this year's head coaching search. Everyone's going to want Joe Brady. He's going to be on everyone's list. And I think Jesse Minter is going to be high on a lot of people's list. Former defensive coordinator with John Harbaugh at Michigan, won a national title. Now defensive coordinator for John Harbaugh at the LA Chargers, and they're doing a very good job. He's going to be high on everyone's list. People are going to talk about Brian Flores. My one thing with Brian Flores is I know that now, by the way, someone said this to me yesterday. I don't know why people keep saying this. Look what he took the Dolphins to. Okay, wait. What did he take the Dolphins to? What were they before? And people keep doing this to me, and I don't know why people don't understand context, or context is hard to think about. I don't know why. But someone said to me he took the Dolphins from, someone said he took the Dolphins from 5-11 to a 10-9 win team. Wait a minute, no he didn't. The Dolphins, the 2 years before him, they were 7-9, and then they were 6-10. He took them, and then in his first year, he was 5-11. So he took them to 5-11. Then he took them to being 10-6 2 years later, and then 9-7. And then overall, his record was 24-25, about 500. Now, at the end of that, his ownership kind of wanted him to take, allegedly. And he didn't necessarily want to do that. And they ended up getting rid of him. He's suing the NFL, whatever, all that. I will defend him when it comes to all that stuff. He didn't want Tua. And I think time is now showing that Tua just isn't really that good. He probably isn't a franchise quarterback. So maybe Brian Flores' instinct was correct in that. Cool. I have a problem with how he treated Tua, allegedly. Now, this is all coming from Tua. And people will say, well, Tua's being soft. And maybe he is. But from what Tua is saying, Brian Flores literally was telling him, like, every single day, you suck, you don't deserve to be here, you're not good enough, you gotta, improve, you're not good enough. It sounded bad. It didn't sound like constructive criticism. It sounded like bullying. That's what it sounded like to me. And that rubs me the wrong way. Now, again, this is football. Maybe Tua's being a little soft. But, I mean, it's worth noting that up to this point, when Mike McDaniel was being encouraging with Tua, Tua did better. Right? And I think you have to be a good critic of your quarterback, and you should. Right? I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. But it sounded like Flores was a little crazy. So that's my only concern there. Now, maybe he's learned from that, and maybe he's more chill. I will also say, so from that standpoint, that's where I stand on it. I will tell you, though, I don't think there's any chance in hell. Or maybe not no chance in hell. I would put it very low. Because just the very nature that he's suing the NFL, I think the powers that be, and I don't want to get too conspiratorial over here, but I don't think that they're going to allow that to happen. I'm sorry, Brian Flores. I think when you, and maybe deservedly so, but when you sue the league, I don't think you're going to be a head coach again. I mean, I just don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think when you sue the powers that be, I don't know if it's going to happen. I could be wrong on that. He did get interviews last year, so, or this offseason, I should say. So maybe. I mean, maybe. But, I mean, I just have to see it. So I'm leaving it out there. People are also already saying Gruden. And look at me, I said I wasn't going to go into the candidates, and now I'm going into the candidates, but oh well, whatever. Now, here's the thing when it comes to John Gruden. I'm over this. And we're going to keep having these stupid conversations about this, and yes, they are stupid, because it's not happening. Roger Goodell is going to make some, speaking of conspiratorial, forget about Flores, too, in the NFL. You think Roger Goodell is going to let Gruden back in after what he said about him in those emails? Yeah, buddy. That's number one. Number two, why? Can anyone give me a good reason why you would want John Gruden, who has not had a winning season since 2008, so you might as well get your boy Jeff Fisher, because he's had a winning season more, well, actually, has he? He hasn't. I was about to say he's had a winning season more recently. He actually hasn't. But the same amount of time as Jeff Fisher having a winning season, so you might as well get Jeff Fisher, okay? Or better yet, then just get Mike McCarthy, because I know this. Mike McCarthy is going to make us a playoff team. Now, are we ever going to win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not. But if you're worried about, like, well, at least Gruden can right the ship and save, then get McCarthy. The only reason you want Gruden is because he's entertaining. He's a great personality. You like him. I like him. Okay, cool. He took the Raiders. See, someone else told me, oh, well, he took the Raiders from 4-12 to being okay. No, he didn't. The Raiders were a playoff team in 2016. In fact, they won, I want to say, 12 games in 2016. 2017, they fell off. They went 6-10. They fired Jack Del Rio. Then Gruden came and blew it up, and mostly. And he took them from 6-10 to 4-12. They went 4-12 with him. So don't say they were a 4-12 team before. No, they were a 4-12 team with him, because of him. He's the one that decided to blow it up. Okay. Then they went, I want to say next year was 7-9, and then 8-8, and then they were 3-2 when he got fired. Now, I know that year they went to the playoffs. Guess what? You don't get credit for that. You weren't there for even half of the year. They went 7-5 without you. You went 3-2. Would you have made the playoffs? I don't know. You were on pace, but I'll never know. We'll never know. We'll never know. Maybe they would have made the playoffs with them. We'll never know. So he did not make the playoffs with the Raiders in 4 years. They never had a winning record. I guess you could say his last year he had a winning record. He was 3-2. Okay, congrats. He hasn't made the playoffs since 2008. Then just get Mike McCarthy then. If you want a veteran head coach who you know is safe, who can win, then get McCarthy. Why are you getting Gruden? It doesn't make any sense. McCarthy's boring. You're tired of him and some of his management, whatever. Gruden hasn't made the playoffs since 2008. Go get Jeff Fisher then. He knows football too. I'm done with the Gruden stuff. I know he's entertaining. I don't care. Hard Knocks will be fun. Okay, who cares? Hell, get Rex Ryan then. Rex Ryan will give you the same thing. Honestly, what's the difference? Why not get Rex Ryan? In fact, I'm actually kind of more motivated by Rex Ryan, because I know this. Rex Ryan more recently has done things than John Gruden. Look, he won a Super Bowl in 2002. What are we talking about? So I'm done with the John Gruden stuff. So anyway, what was the point of this video? When will they fire Brian Callahan? So let's look at the schedule. Okay, so if we look at the schedule, and actually let's see if I can show this on screen. That way we can get a good look at this as a team. And we could try to figure out when we can expect the Tennessee Titans to get a W. Let's see, I should be able to do a window capture. Alrighty, so look at this Tennessee Titans schedule. Let me go ahead and let's see how I can do this. 1 second. Alrighty. All right, so we have the Tennessee Titans schedule in front of us here, and let's try to figure out when we are going to get Brian Callahan out of here. So these are very rough win-loss predictions here. Don't hold me to them, although I'm sure you will in weeks to come. Just my rough feel in terms of will we win this game, will we lose this game, and what it might mean. Now, at the Texans, now this is important because Amy Adams-Trunk, who, by the way, so she was announcing Mike Keith in his introduction to the Tennessee Titans, what do they call it, Ring of Honor? During yesterday's game, and she got boos, and she heard them. And then she heard the boos for Brian Callahan and the boos for the team. Like, she knows very much so how this fan base is feeling. However, they did not fire him today, and these are now 3 straight road games. Absolute insanity. Shout out to the NFL schedule makers for screwing us over once again. You just absolutely love to see that. Ugh, unbelievable. Anyway, so here's what I'm anticipating for this Texans game. Now, I could be wrong on this, but the Texans offense stinks. Okay, it is really bad. They have not scored 20 points up to this moment. Their offensive line can't block. The wide receivers can't get open or catch. C.J. Stroud has the yips. They can't run the football. I think that we should be able to limit them at the very least. Now, we can't get pressure. We can't get sacks. We can't, do much of anything. But luckily for us, they don't have that many weapons right now. And again, they decided to trade away their best offensive lineman for only God knows why. So I don't think that this game's going to be that bad. In fact, I will go ahead and say I don't think the next 3 games should be that bad. If we get blown out in any 3 of these games, it is bad. Okay, hell, any of the next 4 games, it is bad. Because I said this in my Colts preview, the Colts are better than us, okay? The Colts are better than us. They have a better running back than us. They have a better offensive line than us. They have better weapons than us. As of right now, they have better quarterback play than us. They have a better defense than us. They're better than us on almost every single facet. The only thing you could argue might be, I would argue, inside linebackers and safeties. That's it. So, of course, we're going to get blown out by the Colts. Or at least we're going to lose. Maybe not blown out. We shouldn't have got blown out because it's a divisional contest. But still. However, that's not the case for any 3 of these games. So, I'm actually going to go and say I think all of these games are going to be close. So, I will say, though, however, because it is at Houston and they are just as desperate as we are because they are also 0-3, I have us losing that one. Arizona, now they're playing better, but I'm not particularly impressed. I was not impressed with them yesterday against the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, their defense looked decent, I guess, but they were playing against Mac Jones, and a lot of their receivers were out. So there's only so much you can really take away from that. But they were able to slow down McCaffrey, although McCaffrey's just getting slowed down himself just in general. So this one's going to be interesting. I think this one, if we lose this one and go 0-5, I think he's done here, actually. I really would say that he's done here. However, I don't know if we're going to lose this game. I think, actually, we might win this game. It's going to be interesting. I would be very surprised if we lost Arizona and Vegas in a row. Because even though, like I said, and I think Arizona is like a middling team. I think they will be, and even last year, I think they ended up going 8-9. So I think they're going to be about that this year anyway. Probably the exact same record if I had to guess. So I wouldn't be shocked. I think out of desperation, we finally win this. And then at Vegas, the thing about Vegas right now, Vegas stinks. And they're hosting the Bears this week. I think they're going to start 0-2 at home to start the season. Are they going to lose every game at home? Now, I don't know if you've been to Allegiant Stadium. It's a very nice stadium there in Vegas. NFL teams have no problem going there and feeling like they can compete. So this is another game I'm looking for. I think we only win one of these two. So if we beat Arizona, I think we lose to Vegas. If we lose to Arizona, I think we beat Vegas. But if we go 0-5, I think he's done. If we beat Arizona, lose to Vegas, I think he's still alive for that Patriots game. If we lose that one, I think he's done. So I'll say my official prediction as of right now is I think he gets fired after the Patriots game. If we lose to Arizona, though, and go 0-5, I think he's done. But I think the official end of him will be if we lose at home against New England, which right now I think we would. I think we would, and I think definitely we would lose before if we go to Indianapolis. Maybe there's a chance that we white-knuckle this thing and then just go face the Chargers and then bye week and then finally fire him there. But he's not making it past the bye week. I'll go ahead and say that. That will be my prediction right there. He's not making it past the bye week. I won't guarantee that. I mean, maybe there's a chance. Again, there's a chance we turn around. Like I said before when I started the video, there's a chance. I'm not predicting it. There's a chance. So maybe if he doesn't turn around, though, he's done by the bye week. Because we're going to lose at Indianapolis and we're going to lose to the Chargers. Unless if major injuries happen, we're losing those games. So, I mean, at best, we're talking about us being how many? Let's see, how many games is that? Oh, whoops! I forgot I changed my tab. I was like, I have some MJ Inception going on. So how many games is that? That's 9 games. I mean, you're talking about at best, to me, 3-6. Most likely scenarios 2-7. I mean, that is the most likely scenario. There's a chance for 3-6. If he turns things around and gets things back to where I would have thought, 3-6 is actually in line with that. Either 3-6 or maybe 4-5. But I mean, what are those 4? I mean, what 4 are we gonna get? I mean, the 4 would have to be the next 4 because I mean, you're talking about. At Indianapolis and versus the Chargers, I mean, there's just no way. I mean, those teams would have to choke. So 3-6 is like the best case scenario that we only drop, of the next 4, we only drop one of them. I just don't see us beating the Colts or the Chargers. I mean, maybe it'll be a divisional thing with the Colts, and then for some reason they don't show up in this divisional game, and we're really pissed off from the last performance that we had against them. We show up. I can't predict that, and I can't project that as of this moment. So that's my feeling. I think by the bye week, I think he's done. So who will replace him and who should replace him as the interim? So people have already been discussing this, and there's 3 main names that are being tossed around. Number 1 is Mike McCoy. So he is currently a senior offensive assistant for this team. He was hired actually this offseason. This is the former head coach of the San Diego Chargers, and he was the San Diego Chargers head coach from 2013 through 2016. He had a record of about, I want to say 27-37, so not very good. They didn't make the playoffs in his second year. They went 10-6, and I think they won a playoff game too, if I remember correctly. So McCoy is not good. Because after that, he was offensive coordinator. So before that, he was offensive coordinator for the Broncos, including Peyton Manning's first year there where they popped off. Because of that pop-off, he got his job with the Chargers. He was the Tim Tebow offensive coordinator. Now, Josh McDaniels, it's important to note, was the head coach there. So there was some split responsibility between McDaniels and McCoy whenever he was in Denver. So keep that in mind. Well, when he was in Denver before McDaniels got fired, that is. But he stayed on afterwards and then was offensive coordinator whenever John Fox was there. So since then, though, after that, he went back to the Broncos in 2017, got fired during that season, I want to say, like right before the end of the season. He did. And that was when Van Jefferson was the head coach there, so not good. And that was the Trevor Siemian year, if you remember that Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch mess that they were doing that year. Yeah, that was that fiasco. And then he went to Arizona 2018 to be the offensive coordinator when Steve Wilkes was there for Josh Rosen, got fired. This was early in the season, like week 6 or 7 there, got fired there. And then hasn't really been doing much since. So his offensive coordinator skills are done. And I understand that. He is, however, only one of 3, and really earnestly 2 head coaches on the staff. So that's why you would pick him. And I will go ahead and say he's my pick. And it's not because he's going to fix the offense, because he won't. I just need someone there that knows how to play Madden and knows how to manage the clock at the end of a half. That's literally all I need. That's all I need. And I don't know what the hell he's doing there anyway. In fact, when they got him, I immediately clocked it and said, oh, is that Brian Callahan's interim head coach? Is that why he's being hired? It didn't make any sense other than that. Whenever you see these senior guys that are being hired, we got like Jim Schwartz a couple years ago. Now, we ended up not having to use him, but I was like, well, I think that's why Jim Schwartz is here. I don't know. Some of these guys, they just have seniority. There's some, maybe not, I don't want to say nepotism, but yeah, some nepotism, I guess, going on there. Some rubbing of elbows going on between these colleagues. But I'm also like, dude, you might be hiring your replacement right here. So they're going to ask him first, in my opinion. He might say no. Now, I tried to look this up prior to this video. If these guys get raises when they become interim head coach, I couldn't find anything definitive on that. I imagine you would. I don't know. I would imagine you would. Now, he's actually only 53. So if he has hopes of being a head coach again or even an offensive coordinator, I mean, this is a great audition for you, so I would imagine he would do it. But maybe he's made a lot of money and say that he doesn't really care. I don't know, because let me look this up again, because I'm pretty sure, did he work? Maybe he did. I can't remember where he was working for after Arizona. He was quarterback coach for the Jaguars from 22 to 24. But from 2018 to 2022, he wasn't working, at least in the NFL. I don't know what he was doing. So I don't know how much fervor he has for it anymore. I mean, I guess you can also say, when it comes to him and Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence regressed last year. They made the playoffs. Was that 22 or 23? It had to be 23, I want to say. What did the Jags? Hold on. Let me look up. Let me just remind myself. If the Jags made the playoffs after the 22 season or 23. I want to say 22, though. And then, what do they go in 23 then? Let me just look this up real quick. Yeah, they after 22, and then 23 they went 9-8. Okay. So he did fine with Trevor Lawrence, as a quarterback's coach for him. And I think, again, he has the experience. He'll just calm everybody down. Maybe he'll implement some of the things. So, and I remember his stint with the Chargers. It certainly wasn't good enough. There were definitely problems there. He's definitely not the long-term guy or anything like that. I'm not indicating that. But he'll be fine. And he'll just be fine. All right? He's not going to do anything radical. He knows how to do a press conference. That's it. Now, the other name that people really want is John Fossil. This is our special teams coordinator. He also was an interim head coach for Jeff Fisher. When Jeff Fisher got fired in L.A., he was the interim head coach for the last 3 games there. The reason why I'm saying no on this is just because, look, right now our special teams is working. I don't know what Mike McCoy is doing. So I would rather just let John Fossil keep cooking over there with the special teams right now and let him just keep doing that and not really disrupt it. Just let him keep doing it. Also, I want him there for the next head coach. Just let him just keep doing it. I don't know. The only other reason to not do this is just, or to do it instead of McCoy, is if you just for some reason really feel like John Fossil is going to light a fire under this team more than Mike McCoy. Sure. I mean, that would be the reason to do it. So if they do it, I won't hate it. I would just rather leave it alone. I would rather just leave him there, and then this senior guy who's a former head coach, well, what the hell is he doing? Well, then just put him there. But look, he's been doing a great job, and at least he's been interim before, so you could put him in there, and it would be fine. But I would rather just leave the special teams alone. I would rather just leave it and let Mike McCoy, who's not really doing anything, do it. And then also, what's going to be interesting is when Callahan's gone, what do they do with Nick Holtz? Because we need someone to call plays. Is Nick Holtz also going to get fired? I remember recently when McDaniels got fired, his offensive coordinator got fired. Speaking of which, our quarterbacks coach, Bo Hardigree. Okay, so this guy is a former interim offensive coordinator for the Raiders. When the Raiders let go of Josh McDaniels and his offensive coordinator, Bo Hardigree stepped up and was interim offensive coordinator and play caller for Antonio Pierce. So what I anticipate is Mike McCoy get in there, then he give play calling duties to either Nick Holtz or Bo Hardigree. Or maybe you let him split it, wherever you want to do it. Can Nick Holtz call plays? I don't know. I don't know what he does. I have no idea what he does. And apparently neither does he, because the offense isn't very good. So that's my thoughts on that. So we'll see. I guess the one argument would be, if Fossil is promoted, I think maybe he would leave one of his assistants to be the new special teams coach, because I don't know if you still want him doing special teams coordination as the head coach. That's my thing. That's why I don't want to do it. I want him to just stay there and do it. Although, I will say, whenever he was interim for the Rams, I didn't look this up, and I should have, whether or not he was interim head coach and still special teams coordinator. I'm not sure about that simultaneously, but I do know after he stayed on with the Rams and Sean McVay, and he was special teams coordinator again. So he can be special teams coordinator again if he is interim head coach. I just don't know if he would do that simultaneously. I probably should have looked that up if he did that. I think you could. It just seems like a little bit too much, and particularly when it seems like one of the problems right now for Callahan is he has too many people in his ear, and he has too many things going on and too many things to worry about. That doesn't seem like a particularly good idea. And then the final name is Denard Wilson. This is a no for me because now I think he needs to stay on the defense and focus on defense right now. We got enough problems on defense right now that he needs to be sitting there focusing on. Because if he gets promoted, who's taking his job? Who's now going to be an offensive coordinator? Can he do a good job? And it just doesn't make any sense. You need to use one of these guys that are sitting, waiting in the wings. That's why, like, Anthony Lynn was a great interim head coach. He was a running backs coach. Do you need a running backs coach? Yes, but it's easier to promote someone like that or a senior assistant, someone like that, instead of a coordinator who's already having so many responsibilities. If they're not already ready, look, if you planned for an off season for them to take over the role, but as an interim, I much prefer like a senior assistant like a Mike McCoy. Fassel's fine, and maybe he has someone that he trusts to be special teams coordinator, sure. And maybe you go to Mike McCoy and he's like, you know what, I don't want to do it, you know? And I don't think you can force him to do it. So it depends who wants to do it. There's some other little names out there, like an Anthony Weaver or something, but I don't know. I think those are the main three that you're really looking at there. My prediction is Mike McCoy. I think it will be Mike McCoy, but it could be Fossil. And we'll see. Let me see. Is there anyone else on the coaching staff that I might have missed? I don't see anyone in the comments putting anyone else. But those are, and then also, I think, of course, when Brian Callahan's out of here, Bill Callahan's out of here. Because he's like, well, what the hell am I doing here? And you don't want him, I don't think he would do this, but you don't want him just having sour grapes coaching this offensive line. It just doesn't make any sense. So, sorry, Bill, you're gone. And he should be gone. Because is our offensive line good? Is it good? Has it been good? I didn't think so. So he should be gone. So, sorry, it didn't work out. One of the best offensive linemen in the league, offensive line coaches in the league. Well, apparently not, because we stink. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we stink. So, I think that's about it. Yeah, I'm just going through some other of the coaching staff. Now, those are the names that I like. I think it's going to be Mike McCoy. I mean, that's my prediction. I think it'll be fine. We won't have any more crazy things going on in terms of decision-making and stuff like that. And I think we'll get a couple more wins. I'll stick with my prediction as of right now, 6-11, but it might be 6-11 without Callahan as opposed to with him. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment. When will Brian Callahan be fired? Let me know your thoughts on who should be the interim. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm out. See you all later.